𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃. This is the place where the last Hindu empire, the mighty Vijayanagara Empire, was defeated by the invading Deccan forces. Hi guys, welcome to your channel, Driving for Wellness. I am driving to Hampi, which is about 1200 kilometers from Vadodara. It will take me about 18 hours to reach the place. I will be driving through Pune, Belgaum, Hubli and finally reach Hampi. There are about 1600 ruins in Hampi, but I am not sure whether I will be able to take a look at all of them. But definitely, I would like to see the location where this great battle of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 was fought and where the mighty Vijayanagara Empire was defeated. A very unfortunate happening in those times, that was in 1565. In this video, we will take a look at the Virupaksha temple. Virupaksha temple is probably one of those temples which survived this onslaught of these Deccan invaders. We will divide this video into three segments. In the first segment, we will take a look at how this battle of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 was fought. Of course, I will keep it brief. In the second segment, we will take a look at the Virupaksha temple. And in the last segment, we will take a look at some unknown facts about the Virupaksha temple. Let's go. Never forget 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃. Never. It's a discouraging tale of deceit, backstabbing and betrayal. A story that will crush your very soul. 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗃 Raya was beheaded on 23rd January 1565 CE in the battlefield by the combined forces of the barbarian Deccan Sultanate at 𝗏𝗏𝗃. The cost of Ramaraya's secularism was not only his head, but the largest Hindu empire of the time. Very tragic. A piece of history that nevertheless needs to be told and retold repeatedly, for those who refuse to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, just like 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗃. But who was 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗃 Raya? Ramaraya, known as Aliya, was a statesman of the Vijayanagara Empire, the son-in-law of Emperor Krishnadeva Raya and the progenitor of the Aravidu dynasty of Vijayanagara Empire, the fourth and last dynasty of the empire. The Battle of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 was a watershed battle fought between the Vijayanagara Empire and an alliance of the Deccan Sultanates. The defeat of 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗃 Raya led to the eventual collapse of the polity and reconfigured Deccan politics. The specific details of the battle and its immediate aftermath are notoriously difficult to reconstruct in light of the distinctly contrarian narratives present across primary sources. Defeat is usually blamed on the gap in the relative military prowess. Ramaraya was eventually beheaded by Sultan Nizam Hussain himself. Ramaraya's death created confusion and havoc. His brother Tirumala deserted the battlefield with the entire army and tried to temporarily regroup in Vijayanagara before quickly moving on to the outskirts of their empire. His older brother was blinded and was probably a battle casualty. The Malike Maidan, or the Master of the Field cannon, stated to be the largest piece of cast bronze ordnance in the world, was utilized by the Deccan Sultanates during the Battle of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃. It was provided by Ali Adil Shah of the Bijapur Sultanate. Virupaksha temple. The temple is dedicated to Lord Virupaksha, a form of Shiva. The temple was built by Lakhan Dandesha, a Nayaka or chieftain, under the ruler 𝗩𝗵𝗵𝗃 II, also known as 𝗑𝗺𝗪𝗃 of the Vijayanagara Empire. The river 𝗃𝗵𝗃 flows nearby the temple and reflects its holiness. Lord Shiva resides inside the temple and is in penance. The Virupaksha temple is located in Hampi near Bangalore in the state of Karnataka in southern India. The temple's history is uninterrupted from about the 7th century when it was built by the Chalukyas. Evidence indicates there were additions made to the temple in the late Chalukyan and Hoysala periods, though most of the temple buildings were attributed to the Vijayanagara period. Initially, it was a little shrine, slowly developed into a big complex during the Vijayanagara Empire. The temple is nourished with adorable arts, crafts, statues, and is immersed in their culture. However, these beautiful architectures were destroyed by the invading armies in 1565. The Virupaksha temple survived the onslaught and is a major pilgrim center even today. It is believed that Lord Shiva was in penance and Lord Parvati wanted to get him and therefore sat in penance nearby. When Lord Shiva realized this, he was impressed and blessed her and agreed to marry her. It is also believed that the venue of their marriage was the Virupaksha temple. A bit about the architecture of this temple. The temple boasts of a little shrine, a hall with a huge number of pillars, 3 antechambers. And besides this, there are a few small shrines, a pillared monastery, and an entranceway around the temple. Of all the available gateways, the eastern gateway is the greatest one here. It's about 50 meters in length and is 9-tiered. The gateway is made of bricks and it includes a gravel base, and the court has different subsanctums. The eastern Gopuram is flourished with 3 stories and northern Gopuras have 5 stories. The main pillared hall has a stone slab beside it that described how 𝗏𝗃𝗃 the king, had contributed. There is a strange phenomena happening inside the Virupaksha temple built in the 7th century. In one of the dark chambers, you can see an inverted image of the temple tower. It is a shiny golden image of the tower appearing upside down on the wall. If you take a more closer look, you can see the entire tower with all the details, including the metallic structure on top of the tower. Even more interesting is that this image appears in the afternoons. You cannot see the golden inverted image of the tower in the mornings. It only happens between 1:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Exactly on the other side of the chamber, we can see a hole which is about 1 foot wide. If you look through this hole, you can see the actual tower of the temple, which is about 50 meters tall. Is this image real or some kind of illusion? Every day, thousands of people visit this temple to view this miraculous sight. The first thought would be whether the wall was painted with some kind of a phosphorescent material like zinc sulfide, which can glow in the dark. This is because the wall shows a dark triangle which appears to have some kind of a coating. To verify, some visitors held a white cloth in front of the wall. This was done to check and verify whether it was really the light coming from the tower through the 1 feet wide hole, and if so, then we should be able to see the image on the cloth as well. The inverted image did appear on the cloth, which set to rest the suspicion about some coating on the wall. The same group of visitors did a final test, and that was to cover the 1 feet wide hole and see if the image disappeared. This was done to confirm if the light which produces this image actually comes through this particular 1 feet wide hole. The moment the 1 feet wide hole was covered with a cloth, the image disappeared on the wall. So it was confirmed that the light does in fact come through this hole. Taking a closer look at this hole from outside, it was seen that it is directly pointing to the temple tower. The question arose, why does this inverted image appear only in the afternoons and not in the mornings? And why do we see an inverted image of the tower? And why does this phenomena does not happen in the mornings and it happens only in the afternoons? You all have studied physics in school. Let us revisit the chapter optics. What we are observing is called a camera obscura or a pinhole image. This is a natural phenomenon wherein the light from the top will hit the bottom and the light from the bottom will hit the top. This probably is the oldest known pinhole image in India, which was created in the 7th century. The pinhole effect is the reason why you see an inverted image on the wall. Now the reason why it appears only in the afternoons. The temple tower looks dim in the afternoons, that is between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. But when you go inside the temple and see the other side of the same tower, it is shining and golden because of the sunlight. This is because the temple is facing east and therefore the tower will look dim from the inside, that is during morning hours. But the sun is not shining on the inside face of the tower. The inside tower starts shining only when the sun moves to the west and makes it look golden. In the morning hours, however, you can still see a faint image of the tower, but it won't look shiny and golden. Now it is clear why we see this mysterious golden inverted tower at Virupaksha temple. Bye for now.